Morning again.
Yes, good morning once again.
Great. So, like we said during when I was introducing the show, we will be speaking to a former worker of Capital Bank, but that comes on a bit later. Let's begin immediately by reading the part of the documents that we have concerning UT Bank. We will begin now. And this section is captioned UT Bank. It says, poor governance structures and practices contributed significantly to the deterioration of the UT Bank's financial performance and its eventual collapse. In this section, we highlight clear examples of poor corporate governance structures and practices, as well as governance failures. The UT Bank until 14th August 2017 was a public company listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange GSE on 26th November 2008 with a share price of 33 Ghana pesos. The following was the bank's ownership structure as at 31st March 2017 with a trading price of 6 Ghana pesos. Name of shareholder. So it gives the names and of the shareholders and the percentage of their shareholding. UT Holdings 42.51%, DEG 14.04%, International Finance Corporation IFC 10.53%, Africa Capitalization Funds Limited 10.53%, Degboche Emmanuel Kobla 5.86%, Africa Fund 1.90%, Investec 4.07%, Duet Africa 2.43%, and the public owned 18.77%. It also has the members of the UT Bank board as of 14th August 2017. The first is Joseph Nsonamwa. He's from UT Holdings Limited. He's a co-sponsor. Prince Kofi Amwabing. He's from UT Holdings Limited, also a co-sponsor. Martin Mensah from UT Holdings Limited, CEO of co-sponsor, chairman of the HR and Governance Subcommittee. Stephen Inchi Asimeng, CEO of the company, and Alexander Benasco. He's an independent member, but he was nominated by co-sponsors, chairman of the Audit and Risk Subcommittee. He resigned from the board on 31st July 2017 in order to take up appointment as chair of Agricultural Development Bank. Linda Osea Koto is also here. She is independent, but she was also nominated by co-sponsors.
Now, there are some developments that continues in this particular report. The IFC parties had 20.28% of shareholdings at the time of the purchase and assumption transaction. Although the IFC parties were entitled to nominate one director, they failed to exercise this right, and therefore the IFC parties never had a board representative. Given the fiduciary responsibilities that IFC and the other international shareholders have towards their own investors, we find it disturbing that these institutions failed to appoint directors to the board despite the red flags. Now, DEG had 13.52% shareholding at the time of the purchase and assumption transaction, and initially exercised its right to appoint a director to the board of the bank, choosing Mr. Andreas Voss for this position on 7th April 2014. However, it failed to replace its representative when he resigned from DEG and the board on December 31, 2014. Again, we find the lack of oversight by DEG disturbing. Had the DEG and IFC taken their governance roles more seriously and acted responsibly, then, given their expertise, it is likely they could have helped stem the decline of UT Bank or acted in a manner to limit the extent of the damage that the bank's actions caused to the broader banking system. It proceeds to say that two subcommittees, namely Audit, Risk and Compliance, and HR and Governance, were established. The HR and Governance Subcommittee had a charter similar to that of the Corporate Governance and Nominations Committee as envisaged by the shareholders' agreement. Now, directors who were not truly independent chaired these subcommittees, although they had been nominated, approved, and or were working for the group. Similarly, the absence of the full complement of the board for most of the period, it had only 6 anyway, only meant that effectively only 3 members, even in the face of the obvious lack of independence, were available to do such a subcommittee work.
The lack of independence and limited membership of the committees significantly weakened their effectiveness. The Banking Supervision Department's Risk Assessment Summary 2014 report states, board and senior management oversight is satisfactory. It generally ensures adherence to risk management processes and practices and procedures and controls. Except for the capital inadequacy and some business decisions in relation to the bank's risk exposures which draw supervisory attention, the bank's overall performance is satisfactory, and other issues of concern identified are issues management is able to address in a routine and timely manner. Except for the capital inadequacy and some business decisions in relation to the bank's risk exposures, which draw supervisory attention, the bank's overall performance is satisfactory, and other issues of concern identified are issues management is able to address in a routine and timely manner. Note that this BSD comment, the above one, extracted from the summary above, is markedly inconsistent with its comments on the performance of the board and senior management. In the BSD Risk Assessment Summary 2015 report, a year later, they stated that board and senior management oversight is generally satisfactory, except for some lapses relating to credit risk management. The changes in the senior management team are expected to improve the bank's risk management control systems. Overall, the bank's operational performance is unsatisfactory, riddled with high capital deficiency, liquidity challenges, and weak earnings capacity, and needs prompt corrective action, without which the bank's future viability will continue to be in doubt. As highlighted elsewhere in this report, BSD was inconsistent in its reporting and as a result did not treat the deteriorating situation at UT Bank with a sense of urgency.
The comments on the Banking Supervision Division at the Department of the Bank of Ghana proceeds with some other thoughts on the payment of royalty to UT Holdings Limited. Now, in 2014, the IFC raised a number of concerns regarding the payment of royalties by the bank to its principal shareholder, UT Holdings Limited. This dispute lasted for several months and indeed persisted until the purchase and assumption transaction. As at the date of the purchase and assumption transaction, the IFC had issued a notice to exercise their put option against the co-sponsors, demanding payment for their shares. The main cause of the dispute was that the IFC's allegation that the payment of the royalty had not been properly disclosed to it during its due diligence. Indeed, this singular matter severely strained the personal and institutional relationships between the IFC and the bank. Now, it proceeds to say that the Bank of Ghana intervened to resolve the matter and only partially succeeded in resolving the impasse. As part of its intervention, the Bank of Ghana ordered immediate cessation of payment of royalties to UT Holdings until all the shareholders agreed to its payment. Now, the royalty payment was based on a percentage of forecast interest income. There is no evidence on record that this agreement was ever achieved, although the bank continued to pay a fixed monthly amount of 350,000 Ghana cedi to UT Holdings as a management fee. Now, in the Banking Supervision Department's Risk Assessment Summary on the UT Bank for 2015, and it's quoted here, says the examination noted that in violation of Bank of Ghana's directive per the examination report of 2013, the payment of all royalties to UT Holdings, which is 5% of budgeted gross income, should be suspended until the consent of other significant shareholders was obtained and Bank of Ghana approval given. The bank paid 2.8 million Ghana cedis as royalties to UT Holdings. This is from July to November 2014. The board should immediately ensure that the royalties of 2.8 million paid to UT Holdings are refunded by end April 2016. And these are still quotes from that particular report. And right to explain to the Bank of Ghana why UT Bank should not be sanctioned for flouting the directive of the Bank of Ghana. In the same year, the IFC conducted a routine review of the disbursement and operations by the beneficiaries of a $40 million trade finance line of credit which it had provided to the bank. The review uncovered several lapses and breaches of the terms and conditions of the facility's governance. The ensuing discussion of the breaches and remedial measures became acrimonious, perhaps partly as a result of the then already strained relationship, and the IFC withdrew the line of credit and removed UT Bank from the list of trade finance partners on its website. The bank believes that the official announcement by the IFC had a negative impact on its relationship with other international correspondent banks.
This section is the External Advisors Report, and it begins with Serengeti Capital, UT Bank Credit Risk Assessment Report. In July 2014, UT Bank engaged Messrs. Serengeti Capital Partners, SCP, to undertake a credit assessment of the bank's portfolio and assist its efforts to raise capital. The outcome of the SCP's assessment was as follows. It found frequent breaches of single obligor limits, Lushan International Energy Limited and Jata Cement Limited. Continued lending despite exposed non-performance, Broadband Home Limited and Amit Law. Heavier reliance on personal relationship instead of credit assessment. Credit committee not independent provides approval despite raising concerns. High concentration risk. Industry segments, construction and oil and gas, group exposure, Lushan International Energy and suppliers. Limited evidence to support the BOG loan classification override by management. Absence of the latest financial performance reports from loan files. No periodic evaluations to identify deterioration of client creditworthiness. Actual repayment history that was cumbersome to analyze, and weak enforcement of account domiciliation.
Okay, so Leapfrog due diligence report of UT Bank. Leapfrog Investments, Leapfrog, a South African private equity group, expressed interest in investing in the UT Bank. With this in mind, Leapfrog, in August 2014, undertook a due diligence investigation into the affairs of the UT Bank. A summary of their findings is what I'm about to read now. Top 20 loans with a balance of 452 million Ghana cedis have a high legal risk of loss. Documentation for only 18 of the 20 largest credit exposures were provided. Total balance of 415 million of 452 million. Evidence of the approval of the Credit Committee of UT Bank Board has not yet been provided for 6 of the 18 facilities, nor have copies of the board resolutions of the relevant borrowers in respect of 4 of the 18 credit facilities. No evidence of stamping had been seen with respect to mortgages. None of the mortgages had been registered with the company's registry or collateral registry. UT Bank's loan loss provisions, as assessed by Leapfrog, may have been understated by as much as 136 million Ghana cedis. The bad loans of the bank were not recent, and over 62% of the loan defaults had been restructured for more than a year, as at the time of its due diligence in August 2014. And several governance gaps and weaknesses and significant concerns about the governance of the bank by the board could be identified. Leapfrog, therefore, declined to invest in the bank.
So far, we've gone through some of the issues that the report raises about UT Bank. Yeah. In the first place, how the board itself was constituted. In the second place, some 2 reports or surveys that were done on the bank. Yeah. First of all, by SCP and by Leapfrog. Yeah. A number of issues came up out of them. Yeah. Bottom line, Leapfrog even looked through the bank's financials and realized we cannot invest in it. Yeah. We're about to move into what UT Bank did with the liquidity support that was given into it. As you know, in May 2016, BOG gave, that's the Bank of Ghana, gave UT Bank liquidity support of 460 million Ghana cedis. We learned in the earlier sections that some of these monies may have been misused. We'll go for these important messages. When we come back, we'll tell you exactly what was done with this money. Stay with us.
I wake up in the morning, it's a new day, and I got bills that I have to pay. Now you're running late, running out of time. Feels like the world is waiting in line.
Yeah, what's up? We are say Ube phone. Now I dial star 737 hash. Entinia we bia. Enipa we bia no. Ekwan how bia nim wo homo bia. Abrabo enye din ni akiri kra. E won sa no ene yia so magic ni hwe. Ni nyina hya ase wo star 737 hash. GT Bank star 737 hash so die. Utumi bia account foforo wo phone so. Eto airtime, etuaka. DSTV ni subscriptions. E check your account balance. Link your MTN mobile money account ni GT Bank account. Na transfer sika mebusuafo ni namfofo. Eye koko kra.
I don't need to write or cash a check. I don't need data or internet. I have something that's faster than a jet. Just like
what they're talking about. You could be a palm wine sapper, a teacher, a rapper, a schoolboy, or a school girl, or a trader, a bank MD, a chairman, or a baker.
Guaranteed Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?
Don't come in. Hey, 10 pesos. 10 pesos. Vodafone is 10 years old and is giving you an anniversary gift of 10 times bonus and 10 pesos call rate across networks. Browse for 10 pesos per megabyte. Call Vodafone or any other network at the same rate of 10 pesos per minute. That's not all, oh. Share your scratch card with 2 more people the Kikimi style, and the 3 of you will each enjoy 10 times the value of your card. Dial star 135 hash to subscribe. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800-222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
Move on up. Moving on up is paying from your phone and getting looks of approval from your friends. Moving on up is doing all your banking from your bathroom like a boss. Moving on up is losing your wallet, but your money is still safe. Moving on up is attaching any bank's card to the EcoBank mobile app. Oh yeah, download the EcoBank mobile app. Make we go and bank like a boss.
Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Oh, hello, Amma. Long time, oh.
Oh, I've been standing here knocking, sir. Where were you?
Oh, I'm very sorry. I actually saw you in my cameras when you were walking in, but I was on a long-distance video call with a big cousin in the UK.
How are you able to do that?
Haven't you heard of the broadband service from Telesol? They offer fast speed with vast internet bundles to choose from and very affordable monthly rates.
Wow, is that so?
Yes, so they offer both 4G and fiber broadband.
Go on, tell me more.
And Telesol is fully Ghanaian.
I'm rushing right away to contact them. Any more details?
Yes, you can contact Telesol today for further details on 0303 975 342 or 344 or toll free on 0800 900,000 or visit www.telesol4g.com. Telesol 4G, just a touch.
Super Morning Show. Hi!
We're the L Whiff and Poops.
And you're listening to the Super Morning Show with Daniel Daze.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM.
It's 7 minutes past 8 here on the Super Morning Show in Joy 99.7 FM. We're going into the Bank of Ghana report that tells us what happened to UT and Capital Bank. This morning, our focus is on UT Bank. Earlier, we heard the reports spell out how there were some issues with the way the board of UT Bank was constituted, and also the findings of two different due diligence surveys that were done on this bank. First of all, by Serengeti Capital Partners, SCP, and Leapfrog Investments. Leapfrog declined to invest in UT Bank after their various findings. Now we are going into what UT Bank did with the liquidity support that the Bank of Ghana extended to it. 460 million Ghana cedis of that. Raymond Akwa has the beginning of the details.
So in May 2016, the Bank of Ghana, in communicating its approval of additional liquidity support of 460 million, and this is additional anyway, among other things, indicated its decision to appoint an advisor to the bank's board and wrote, in accordance with Section 60A of the Banking Act 2004 at 673 as amended, the Bank of Ghana shall appoint an advisor to the board of UT Bank to monitor the use of the liquidity granted to the bank, the turnaround strategy, and other matters of supervisory concern. You will be duly notified of the appointment of the advisor. Now, it continues in the other sections specifically to state that we reviewed 3 forms of related party transaction, namely loans granted to related parties not connected to UT Holdings Group. 2. Loans granted by the bank to parties related to the bank group. And C. Deposit investments placed with UT Holdings Limited and not recorded as liabilities and assets on UT Bank's books. Prudential guidelines on related party lending is an important risk management tool to assess loan concentration, the health of the loan book, being non-performing loans, and true profitability and solvency.
I'm going ahead into loans granted to related parties not connected to the UT group. But it is important to note that when the Bank of Ghana said they will appoint an advisor, the report says here, note, it is important to note that no such advisor was ever appointed to the bank as at the date of the purchase and assumption transaction. I'm now going into loans granted to related parties not connected to the UT group. The banking law and prudential regulations prescribe that loans granted to companies and groups which are connected, that such parties should be classified as single borrowers for purpose of establishing a single obligor limit SOL. This is according to Section 41(1) of the Banking Act 2004, Act 673, as then applicable. The prescribed single obligor limits, or SOLs, are 10% and 25% of the bank's net owned funds for unsecured and secured loan facilities, respectively. Similarly, prudential regulations require that risk is classified per borrower and not per facility, and that the worst loan loss classification for a company which is a member of a group should be applied for loan loss classification and provisioning for the entire group. Several loan facilities exceeded the prescribed SOL and also misclassified per facility instead of per borrower. This behavior persisted over several years, and all BSD examination reports have highlighted its prevalence in on-site inspection reviews. The pervasive incidence of SOL breaches underscores the rather poor credit management practices, poor credit governance and supervision. BSD, that is the Banking Supervision Department, failed to sanction UT Bank despite their management failures. Ray is about to take us into the specifics of which persons took which loans, how much they were taken, and what was wrong with those loans. But you were just listening to us. You were just listening to us talk about how there's a simple rule that if Enimwa and Raymond are two companies in one group, and Raymond and I'm a bank, Raymond comes for a loan from me, I'm supposed to use a limit, or that's a single obligor limit, which applies to Raymond and Enimwa together, not Raymond specifically.
Okay.
So if your limit as a group is 5 million, I'm not supposed to give Raymond 3 million and give Enimwa 4 million. I'm supposed to give both of you up to 5 million. And this is what did not happen at all. Ray, I want us to take just these few messages and then we'll come back and we'll go into it. But it's interesting to note that names such as Ibrahim Mahama are named here as persons who took loans, and Alexa Penyomakin. And we will soon be finding out exactly how Mr. John Mahama and Madam Monakote were also involved in this particular matter. Stay with us.
It's a new day.
I want you to first think big, not small. Think of how great we can be when we work together. Together, we can ensure that our hard work will provide a better future. Together, we can provide a foundation for you and your business to succeed, regardless of its size. Together, we can create opportunities for all. Bank with us today and let's journey forward together.
Forward together.
Cowbank, forward together.
Join the Laughgasm Fiesta with the best of African comedians at Glow Laughter Fest at Fantasy Dome, Pavilion F, Trade Fair Center, Accra on 12th of August and 9th of September, featuring Basketmouth, Bovi, Salvador, Senator, Dan the Humorous, Chemical, Shay Law, Godons, Jacinta, DKB, and Foster Romanus. To gain entry, just dial *5301# and use 20 Ghana cedis on voice or 30 Ghana cedis on voice and data within 30 days. Glow Laughter Fest. Don't miss out.
The Grandmasters of Data. Glow Ghana.
The Busia Institute for Rural and Democratic Development, BIRDD, and the entire Busia family invites you to the 40th anniversary lecture celebrating the legacy of Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia, Tuesday, the 28th of August, 3 p.m. at the Accra International Conference Center. Come as we celebrate the life and values of Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia. Special guest of honor, His Excellency the President, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo. The Busia Institute for Rural and Democratic Development, BIRDD, projects and protects the vision, works, and legacy of Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia, which primarily had to do with rural development, democracy, and education. We entreat all who believe in the vision and values of Dr. Busia to participate in the 40th anniversary lecture. Remember, it's Tuesday, the 28th of August, 3 p.m. at the Accra International Conference Center. All are welcome.
Super Morning Show.
15 minutes past 8 on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Like we said before we went on that break, Raymond is bringing us the details of who took what loan and how much was taken, what it was used for.
So this is actually the loans granted to related parties not connected to the UT holding group. Let's start with the first one. Engineers and planners. Now, the direct obligors, that's direct groupies that took the money, are Jata Cement, Holman Brothers, MBG Limited, Engineers and Planners Limited. So this really says that all these four are within the same grouping, engineers and planners. Now, Jata took 131 million. Holman Brothers took 61 million. MBG Limited took 553 million. Engineers and planners took 14 million. The collateral for this, including the value of collateral, was 72.3 million. A 10-acre cement factory at Tema, plus other residential mortgages. Now, 287 million in road contracts was also part of the collaterals. So, in all, the amount of money that was taken by engineers and planners was 261,414,054.47. 261,414,054.47. This is how much was taken by the group engineers and planners. And its subsidiaries, the four groups that are listed: Jata Cement, Holman Brothers, MBG Limited, Engineers and Planners Limited. Now, and I told you that the collateral was 72.3 million, a 10-acre factory at Tema, and 287 in contract proceeds. The remarks of the report state clearly that the main and controlling shareholder of this group is Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. He is described in this as a politically exposed person, PEP. Now we move on to the other group, JOWAC. JOWAC Enterprise has three subsidiaries who took loans. JOWAC Enterprise itself, Darrow Timbers, UT/JOWAC. In all, the group took 26,450,425. The breakdown is in this form. JOWAC Enterprise took 8 million, Darrow Timbers took 8 million, and UT/JOWAC took 9,406 9,406,680. Now, the collateral they presented was a 13.04 acre land at Oshiopo in Dangbe West in the Greater Accra region. Their legal mortgage over a property situated in Kumasi was also presented, and the value of this collateral was unknown entirely, all put together totally. It was unknown. Now, the remarks on this particular grant says, loan was granted to related companies operating a timber concession in the Ashanti region. It is believed that timber in the concession had been felled and sold without any payment to the bank. A shipment of over 57 containers of timber was made to India in 2013 without any proceeds accounted for. Money never returned in this case. Now, the next company is Excel Courier. And Excel Courier has two subsidiaries, Western Investment and Consultancy and Excel Courier. Altogether, they took 30,839,319 cedis, of course, 0.172. Now, Western Investment and Consultancy took 12,972,412 cedis. Excel Courier took 17,866,906. Altogether, the collateral they presented was 990,000 in legal and surety mortgages. Listen to the amount of money they took. 30,839,319. But their collateral altogether was 990,000 in legal and surety mortgages. So that is it for Excel Courier. But who's behind it? The main shareholder is Mr. Apenyo Makin, and he's also a politically exposed person. Indeed, the report and the remarks also indicate that the loan is significantly under collateralized. And I give you the difference again. 30 million is the amount they took, yet the collateral was 990,000. Now, we move on to Bewa. And Bewa is in two forms. Bewa Engineering and Bewa Petrochemicals Limited. Altogether, the group total is 10,150,109. Bewa Engineering took 4,128,678. Bewa Petrochemical Limited took 6,021,431. And this, the total is 10,150,109. Now, it's interesting the collateral they presented. 2,105,000 was collateral they projected. But this was in legal mortgage over residential property situated at airport residential area. Listen, legal mortgage over residential property situated at airport residential area. This is the remark of the report. The company has sued the bank for alleged failure or refusal to release the document on the property it used to secure a previous property that has been paid off. That is the remark from the company on the Bewa company. And we are looking at 10 million in this case. CTK. Now, CTK is in two different forms as subsidiaries. CTK CityLink, CTK Network Aviation Limited. Altogether, the group took 14,979,461. The first part is for CTK CityLink. That's 5,388,341. On the other side, CTK Network Aviation Limited took 9,591,119. And again, altogether is 14,979,461. On the collateral side, the report says no tangible collateral remains on this facility. Again, the collateral side, the report states no tangible collateral remains on this facility. The remark says clearly that the borrower is defunct. The borrower being CTK, done in two different forms, CTK CityLink and CTK Network Aviation Limited, which presented no tangible collateral on the facility, is defunct. We move on to Beige. Beige in two forms: Beige Group and Beige Village. Now, altogether, Beige took 10,923,729 from UT. Beige Group took 6,488,341.88. Then Beige Village took 4,435,000. Let's look at what the collateral in this case is. 36 million. Legal mortgage over 42-acre Beige Village Resort. Legal mortgage over residential properties in both Accra and Takoradi. And look at the collateral altogether. This is 36 million Ghana cedis. And the amount of money they took was 10,923,000. And the remark is pretty simple. The group now comprises the Beige Savings and Loans Limited, soon to be launched as the Beige Bank. And of course, I'm sure we all know that this report was constituted and put together prior to the demise of these banks, which included Beige, the final five that recently their licenses were revoked. Now, Lushan, as group company, had 5 different subsidiaries. Altogether, Lushan took the second highest I've read to you so far, which is actually 84,132,000, 2 CD with 50 pesos attached to it. Now, the 84 million is broken down into the various subsidiaries of Lushan. First, Lushan International Energy Limited took 35 million. Salt Pond Offshore Production Limited took 21 million. Omicron Energy Limited took 18 million. And Oxysia Energy Limited took 5 million. Now, there's another company, Manitowok, or if you like, Manitowok. They took 2 million. Altogether, 84 million was taken by this group called Lushan. And the 5 subsidiaries of Lushan presented, and in this case, no tangible collateral for these facilities exist. Crude oil and petroleum products that were pledged as collateral have been sold. So again, for the 84 million, the report stipulates that no tangible collateral for these facilities exists. That is, all the 5, they presented no tangible collateral. Now, crude oil and petroleum products that were pledged as collateral have already been sold. The remark proceeds in this direction. The principal shareholder, Quincy Sintim Abuaje, has filed for personal bankruptcy in the U.S. Salt Pond Offshore Production is a JV between GMPC. JV means joint venture. Between GMPC, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, and Lushan International Energy. And that is the remark on this particular one. And to be clear, what I read to you are the loans granted to related parties who are not connected to UT Holdings, not directly.
Great. So the report also goes on to give some more details about these loans, particularly about the Ibrahim Mahama related loans, Jata Cement, MBG Limited, Holman Brothers, and Engineers and Planners Limited. The UT Bank requested a waiver of the single obligor limitation from Section 42 of the Banking Act 2004, Act 673, to cover exposures emanating from the erosion of the bank's equity. On 12 May 2016, BSD sought approval to grant a waiver request for single obligor waiver made for debts in relation to Ibrahim Mahama. Minutes of the Emergency Board of Directors meeting held on 18th March 2016 directed that a meeting should be scheduled between the board, Kofi Jobs and Ibrahim Mahama on 29th March 2016 to discuss their indebtedness to the bank. At the Emergency Board of Directors meeting held on 20th May 2016, the board expressed great concern about Mr. Ibrahim Mahama's inability to meet his obligations to the bank. As at May 2016, his total exposure was approximately 302 million Ghana cedis, and he had made no effort to honor any of the assurances he gave when he met them on 29th March 2016. The board directed management to exert more pressure on him to fulfill his obligations and invite him to meet the board before the end of 2016. And here, there's a quote. Board requested a meeting should be arranged between the board chairman, Mr. P.K. Amwabing, on one hand, and President Mahama, or then President Mahama, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, and Mrs. Mona Kote on the other, to discuss the way forward. The board met with Mr. Adi Ayitevi as represented Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. The board expressed its disappointment with Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. Its members felt slighted and disrespected by his actions and questioned his credibility as a businessman. As the Emergency Board of Directors meeting on 3rd June 2016, Mr. Mahama met with the board to discuss his non-performing loans. At this meeting, Mr. Mahama indicated that he was making every effort to pay the amount outstanding from related companies. He, however, asked that the board would grant an advanced payment guarantee (APG) of 28.6 million Ghana cedis to enable Kofi Jobs mobilize funds for projects. Mr. P.K. Amwabing explained to the board that Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, through his company, Engineers and Planners, had applied for an APG from the bank. If approved, the proceeds from the APG will reduce Mr. Mahama's total exposure from 300 million Ghana cedis to 270 million Ghana cedis. The board approved the APG for Engineers and Planners, but resolved that unless he fulfilled his obligations by 8th July 2016, no additional facility should be granted to him or any of his affiliate companies. So here the interesting question will be, why would the board request a meeting with Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, his brother, former President Mahama, and Mrs. Mona Kote?
And to be clear, this was the time he was President of the Republic of Ghana.
This was the time he was President of the Republic of Ghana. And they specifically asked that they meet with them, with Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. Anyone, go ahead.
Utilization of advance payment guarantee. So Ghana Highways paid 32 million Ghana cedis to the UT Bank per the advance payment guarantee to engineers and planners. The funds were used to offset the entire outstanding amounts due from Kofi Jobs. On 31st October and 14th November 2016, Mr. Kofi Job Jebi, Managing Director of Kofi Job Company Limited, instructed the transfer of 3 million Ghana cedis and 2 million cedis to the bank accounts of Mr. P.K. Amwabing at UT Bank and Standard Chartered Bank, respectively. When he was asked about this transaction, Mr. P.K. Amwabing indicated that he had sold his personal residence at Roman Ridge, Accra, to Mr. Kofi Job Jebi. The UT Bank reported a US dollar investment placement with Beige Capital Savings and Loans Limited on 27th October 2014. This amount was rolled over through April 2017. BSD's examination noted that the bank had invested $5 million with Beige Capital Savings and Loans, an institution which by statute was not allowed to deal in foreign currency, thereby putting the bank's funds at risk. Management was asked by BSD to ensure that the above investments were redeemed and placed with statutorily mandated institutions by the end of April 2016. The management did not act upon the BSD's request. Upon inquiry by BAL regarding the fixed-term deposit, Beige Capital, in a letter dated 8th December 2017, stated that the fixed-term deposit was executed as a cash collateral guarantee in support of a loan facility of the same amount to Holman Brothers, a customer of the UT Bank. Holman Brothers subsequently failed to repay the loan, and a number of extensions were agreed after discussions with Holman Brothers and the UT Bank. The guarantee was invoked in January 2017 to repay part of the outstanding balance. This consequently culminated in the forfeiture by the UT Bank of the fixed-term deposit. Note, this clearly demonstrates the UT Bank's clear violation of the Single Obligor Limited and the Bank of Ghana's directive. Eagle Eye Resources. The bank established an LC on behalf of Eagle Eye Resources to import petroleum products in March 2012 for $3 million. The letter of credit was confirmed by the then Intercontinental Bank. The bank received the LC compliance documents from the supplier's bank. However, the UT Bank authorized several amendments, including one allowing for transshipment after receiving the LC compliance documents. Eventually, the cargo was diverted and the bank was not paid. The resulting loan remains in the bank's books with a balance of 10 million. I'll give you the figure, 10,013,689 as at the date of the P&A transaction.
That brings us to 27 minutes to the top of the hour. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Daniel Daze. I'm here with my friends Enimo Animado and Raymond Aqua. We have been going through the report commissioned by the Bank of Ghana, which details what exactly happened causing the collapse of UT Bank and Capital Bank. Today we are dealing with UT Bank. We've gone through a few of the issues so far. Most recently, what we've been going through right now are the related loans granted to related parties not connected to the UT holding group. Interesting names coming up here. Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, his group of companies receiving a total of 261 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Alexander Penyomakin, his group receiving loans totaling 30 million Ghana cedis, but he gave collateral of 990,000 Ghana cedis for these loans he received. I'll leapfrog to what the board of UT Bank decided. They decided to call a meeting with Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, Mr. P.K. Amwabing on one hand, representing the board, Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, President John Mahama at the time, and Mrs. Monakote to discuss the way forward. We'll be going forward into some more issues listed here in the reports, particularly loans granted by the bank to parties related to the bank group. Parties within the UT Holdings Group is what we are going to deal with shortly after these messages. Stay with us.
Admission. The Catholic Institute of Business and Technology, CIBT, a private Christian university, is calling on all who wish to study degree programs such as information technology, accounting, public administration, marketing, banking, and human resource management,
religious studies, and church administration.
To apply now, CIBT is fully accredited and affiliated to the University of Ghana and KNUST. Forms can be purchased at all EMS sections of Ghana post offices. Locate us at our campus adjacent the Nat Hall. Please contact 0575 033 547.
Hey, new phone, new TV. Why? New job, Anna? Same job. Man, forget to say every month of August inside we day. NTM Mumu, my Chadiana flow second stone. Hey, you talk true. Exciting things are happening with MTN Mumu. Anti-Koswa pump your MTN Mumu wallet. No fire payments, send money, shut our bills. Just do more on your MTN Mumu. For building more points, now winning more. iPhone 10, Samsung S9 Plus, Samsung TV sets, and they up to 2,000 cedis e-cash. Who better free every month? And you're Chadia baby. 80 daily, *120# for check points. Promo where you're locking it down till 31st October 2018. FAT, Uwinia promo code BIA. Untiashi, Asana Wajo price. Uwinia number bako pair and a befrel 0244 300 000. Now about Joe price our MTN office. MTN Enfa text message and Chadia. 80 Koswa. Just Momo it everywhere you go. MTN Momo. I is a coat, a channel, a Taribian ho. TNC supply.
What's your thing? Corporate guy, shirt and tie, heels and scarves? You got to meet those KPIs, buddy. Appraisal is coming up soon. Pressure! But as we say, because we go die, we no go sleep. What's your thing? Friday night out with the buddies or the ladies, bonding over drinks and gossips. Find you at Kikibiso Corner. Kwesi Artist Grind Day blasting through the speakers. Dreaded Monday, couple of days away, no fears. Work hard, play hard. Hashtag journey to the top. Let's do your thing. Stanbic Bank. Moving forward.
How
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm having problems as an architect getting quality security products on the market.
Asa Abloy is your one-stop shop for your needs. They have strong padlocks with double locking systems. They also have security doors, hydraulic door closers, hinges, and mechanical locks, pull handles for glass, wooden, and aluminium doors. Also in stock are the Yale Smart Home Alarm System. They have access control for offices, residents and schools, hotel electronic locks, and safes. You can find Asa Abloy in Accra, adjacent MTN office on the 11th lane, Osu, Takrade, Kumasi, Tamale. You can reach Asa Abloy on 0302 778 029 or 050 133 9085 for further details.
The Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International invites the business community to its Greater Accra Regional Convention from Thursday 16th to Saturday 18th of August. Venue, Accra International Conference Center. Official opening by Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, Chief of Defense Staff, Ghana Armed Forces. Main speaker at the Executive Breakfast, Honorable Ken Oforiatta, Finance Minister. Special guest of honor for the ladies' meeting is Her Excellency Rebecca Akufo-Addo. Speakers at the seminars and rallies include Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of GIPC, Dr. Samuel Kisiedu, the internationally famed marriage counselor, and Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Markway, President of Living Streams International.
There are different kinds of laughter. The ones that sound like a machine gun. The ones that sound like a malfunctioning microphone. The ones that sound like an engine with heart attack. The ones that sound like hot banku is stuck in the throat. The ones that sound like they are trying to hold it in. The ones that sound like they have 30 billion in their account. The ones that start laughing in bass, then switch to tenor, alto, and end in soprano. Join the Laugh Cousin Fiesta with the best of African comedians at Glow Laughter Fest at Fantasy Dome, Pavilion F, Trade Fair Center, Accra, on 12th of August and 9th of September, featuring Basket Mouth, Bovi, Salvador, Senator, Dan the Humorous, Chemical, Shay Law, Godons, Jacinta, DKB, and Foster Romanus. To gain entry, just dial *5301# and use 20 Ghana cedis on voice or 30 Ghana cedis on voice and data within 30 days. The first 5,000 entries will get guaranteed front row seats and personally signed autographs from their favorite stars. Glow Laughter Fest. Don't miss out.
The Grandmasters of Data. Glow Ghana.
Same great bank, helping you grow.
Do you have challenges transferring money to your friends or customers with accounts at other banks? Are you worried at the delays with other banks' checks you deposit into your account? Do you have challenges paying your workers or suppliers instantly across banks? You don't need to wait for 2 days anymore. Walk into any ADB branch today and send your money instantly to any account in Ghana, or link ADB Instant Pay to your accounting software for all salaries and payments. You can also access ADB Instant Pay service on our mobile banking app, internet banking, and *767#. ADB, truly a Greek and more.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
17 minutes to the top of the hour on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Dr. Pa Bobo with Abasa. Special request from Raymond Aqua. We're wishing a happy birthday to Professor Nathan Austin and Dr. Emmanuel Asamoah from the University of... Well, we'll soon be joined by Professor Nathan Austin and Dr. Emmanuel Asamoah of the University of Professional Studies, Accra. It's not your birthdays, please. But we have been going through the reports that details exactly what led to the collapse of UT Bank. A number of issues, beginning first of all with how the board of UT Bank was incorporated. A number of issues that went with how the Bank of Ghana Banking Supervision Division commented about the board's incorporation itself. Conflicting statements coming up there. Exactly what went into the liquidity support that was given to the bank. Loans that were given out to related parties not connected to UT Bank. These loans were given in violation of the single obligor limit, which is basically the limit of the amount of money you can give to a single individual or group as a loan. So if you come to me and as a bank, I can't give you a loan more than 5 cedis. That is your single obligor limit. Interesting names that came up in there. Mr. Ibrahim Mahama receiving over 200 million Ghana cedis in loans from UT Bank. Member of Parliament Alex Apeyo-Markin receiving over 30 million Ghana cedis in loans from UT Bank, providing collateral of 990,000 Ghana cedis for those loans. But that's not all. The report also details the loans that were given to companies related to UT Bank itself. And that is exactly what Raymond is about to spell out to us now. Raymond.
Yes, let's start with UT Logistics. The amount involved is 14,832,476. The remarks indicate that this amount represents 2 separate loans of 4.933219 and 9,899,256. The collateral was corporate guarantee from UT Holdings. The second and the first I told you was UT Logistics. That was 14 million. UT Holdings. And let's be clear, these are loans which are granted by the bank to, let's call it, sister companies or mother company.
So maybe Joy FM giving a loan to Adom FM.
Yes.
Or Joy FM giving a
Multimedia Group Limited. Okay, Joy FM giving to
a loan
Multimedia. Then giving to Adom FM, Hits FM, and all of the other parts. Okay. So these are the ones I'm going through. Now, I mentioned UT Logistics being 14,832,000. UT Holdings is 9,368,000. Now there's more. UT FSL Nigeria. This is 3,691,092. And it says that this loan represents expenses and amount paid on behalf of UT Financial Service Nigeria Limited up until 2014. Now, the amounts were not recorded as loans to the sister company and remained outstanding on the general ledger as at 30th of June 2017. And I need to make that point clear. This amount, what I've been telling you so far, the company UT Banks gave to within the UT enclave. So UT Logistics took 40 million. UT Holdings took 9,368,000. This was rental income on Manette Tower property, royalties and management fees from subsidiaries. But proceeding to the other money given, UT Financial Service Limited in Nigeria took 3.6 million. This loan represents expenses and amounts paid on behalf of UT Financial Service Nigeria Limited. Now, the amounts were not recorded as loans, they were not, as the report stipulates, to the sister company, and remained outstanding on the general ledger as at 30th of June 2017. It is described as an unsecured loan in the remarks. The next one, still with UT Financial Service Limited in Nigeria. This was 12,650,000. And of course, it was as at 28th of June 2017. The bank pledged 10 million worth of treasury bills in the amount of 3.349 million Ghana cedis plus 7.151 million Ghana cedis, with a current maturity value of 12.65 million Ghana cedis as of 28th of June 2017. This was to Zenith Bank Nigeria PLC to secure a loan. And to be clear, it actually secured the loan it granted to UT Financial Service Limited in Nigeria, a subsidiary of the UT Holdings, on or before 28th of August 2015. That this transaction understates, listen carefully, this transaction understates the liability of the bank. And in the purchase and assumption transaction date, the amount outstanding is 535,765,166 naira. This is approximately 6.9 million Ghana cedis. As at we are talking about specifically the 6th of December 2017. Now, there is no evidence of any other approval of the said guarantee by the Management Credit Committee or the board, and the guarantee was not recorded in the bank's register of guarantees and indemnities. Now, this transaction I'm talking about, the first remark on it was that the transaction understates the liability of the bank. It proceeds to say that there is no evidence of any approval of the said guarantee by the Management Credit Committee or the board, and the guarantee was not recorded in the bank's register of guarantees and indemnities. The very last point you should take note of is some $6 million US dollars, and this is the first time I'm quoting dollars in this conversation, specifically related to UT Holdings and UT Bank giving money to its own sister companies and related companies. UT Holdings unreported. This amount represents a drawdown on a liquidity line from United National Bank London, one of UT Bank's corresponding banking relationships that provided a liquidity facility to the bank in September 2014 and allocated to two companies in the UT group, namely UT Financial Service Limited in Nigeria and 3.5 million in that case, and UT Properties, 2.5 million US dollars in that case too. Now, the said liquidity line was refinanced on maturity by drawing on another liquidity line. Listen carefully. The said liquidity line was refinanced on maturity by drawing on another liquidity line from Standard Chartered Bank Limited, New York. No asset was created or recorded in the bank's books as at the date of the purchase and assumption. A transaction and sits in suspense in the virtual account. It should be charged to UT Holdings as part of the credit extended by the bank. That was the remark following this particular claim. And, of course, there are some other remarks that follows. It says...
Right.
Yes.
Right. So those are the remarks in the table concerning this particular
setting
one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we want to... So these were the loans that were given to related parties. Loans granted by the bank to parties related to the bank. As you heard the names,
yes,
most of these companies are UT companies.
Yes.
Right.
Some of them not recorded.
Some of them not recorded as loans.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, they were not approved by the Management Credit Committee.
Yes.
And a number of irregularities that went into them.
Others were unsecured loans.
Mm-hmm. So we want to go on into deposit investments placed with UT Holdings Limited and not recorded as liabilities on UT Bank's books. The minutes of the first ordinary meeting for 2016 of the Board of Directors for UT Bank states that payments of up to 6.9 million Ghana cedis for matured fixed deposits were made to customers who claimed to have had investments with the bank. Even though these deposits could not be traced in the system, payments were made. Following internal audit investigations, there is an urgent need to address this growing account balance. As at 28 June 2017, the total indebtedness by companies within the UT group to the bank, including the items presented in section 3.2.73 above, amounted to 125,696,284.90. Again, as of December 28 June 2017, the total indebtedness by companies within the UT group to the bank, as Raymond spelled out in that table earlier, were totaling 125,696,284.90 Ghana cedis. In addition to this, a significant number of transactions, both liabilities and assets, were not recorded in the books of the bank. This led to a significant understatement of the liabilities and assets of the bank, as at the date of the P&A transaction. I'm turning to deposit investments placed with UT Holdings and not recorded as liabilities nor assets on UT Bank books. I'll describe the transaction amount and then the remarks. Data Bank ARC Fund. The amount here is 387,000. This amount represents balances of various deposit placements made by pension and investment funds of 31 million Ghana cedis over several years that were ostensibly moved to the parent company, UT Holdings Limited. Interest and principal payments as rollovers were all made by UT Holdings during the placement periods. The deposits were not captured in the customer deposit book of the bank as at the date of P&A transaction. In almost all cases, certificates of investment deposits were issued by both bank and the UTH executives for the same deposits bearing similar details. On 13th March 2017, Data Bank rose to the Bank of Ghana, complaining of the failure of UT Bank to pay overdue maturities. Boulders Advisors Limited confirmed with custodian banks, GT Bank, ADB Bank and Fidelity Bank Limited for all the United Master and Smart Pension Funds Tier 2 and 3 that the funds were placed with UT Bank. Evidence of certificates for placements were produced. So I'm going to quickly run through some of the amounts that were placed there. Data Bank ARC Fund is what I said earlier, 387,000. Data Bank Money Market Fund, 2,838,000. Data Bank Balance Fund and Pension Alliance Tier 2 Master Trust, 387,000. Pension Capital Trust Limited Tier 2, 72,000 and 100,000. Those are two separate payments. Ghana Association of Microfinance Scheme and ELAC Policyholders Fund, 65,000. GMA Fund, 14,770,000. Vlisco GH Managers Pensions Fund, 1,391,910, and then 148,350. SNIT Employers Group Scheme and SNIT SOS Fund, 726,169.64. United Master Pension Fund, 4,908,298.85 and 600,000. So it says here United Master Pension Fund AX and United Master Provident Scheme Sirius, 600,000. United Master Pension Scheme Sirius, 400,000. United Smart Pension Fund AX, 300,000. United Smart Pension Fund Sirius, 300,000. And United Smart Pension Fund Scheme, 250,000. Those were the details of some transactions that were made by UT Bank, flagged by this report commissioned by the Bank of Ghana. A number of issues that came up starting from the constitution of the board, use of liquidity support, loans given to connected parties, loans given to parties connected to the bank, loans given to parties not connected to the bank, loans given out that had very, very little collateral matching them. Names like Mr. Ibrahim Mahama coming out there, former President Mahama and Mrs. Mona Korte coming up there. We'll soon be going on the line to evaluate the effects of some of these decisions that were made by UT and Capital Bank on the average workers. We will be joined by a former area manager of Capital Bank, currently out of a job. We'll be finding out from him how it has been, first of all, how it was in the bank and how it has been since all of this happened. But before we speak to him, it's that time of the year, months after you made that New Year resolution to buy a brand new car. Only problem is say money no day. Premium Motors Limited presents to you the Crazy Duster offer. Dust some zeros off your budget by getting a brand new Renault Duster automatic transmission at a crazy price of just $16,500. Yes, you heard right. A brand new SUV for $16,500. Promo is valid on limited stock. Rush now to Premium Motors for your Renault Duster SUV by visiting the Renault showroom located at Atiko Junction on the Kanishi Odoko Road, or call 030-707-9977 for more details. Renault, passion for life. Open an ADB account today, send your name and account number to your relations abroad, and ask them to use MoneyGram Direct to Account service and receive your money in your account in minutes. With MoneyGram Direct to Account service, there is no PIN code wahala. You can access your money on all ATMs in Ghana or send it to any mobile money wallet using ADB mobile banking app or *767#. Visit our Facebook website or call our hotline 0302 210 210 for more. ADB, truly, agric and more. At the Buzia Institute for Rural and Democratic Development, BIRDD, and the entire Buzia family wish to invite the general public to the 40th anniversary lecture celebrating the legacy of Dr. Kofi Abrifat Buzia. This takes place on Tuesday, 28th August 2018 at 3 p.m. at the Accra International Conference Center. We will celebrate the life of Dr. K.A. Buzia and the values he stood for. Now, the internet is like a highway for your business. And with MTN Business, your business cruises on the most reliable, high-speed, secure, dedicated internet service in Ghana. Plus, we offer round-the-clock technical support customized just for your business needs. Enjoy premium internet access especially designed for your business today, everywhere you go. Visit mtn.com.gh/business or call 0244 308 111 for more information. Now, Entrance University College of Health Sciences is the first private university to offer the Doctor of Pharmacy degree in the West African sub-region. We provide great opportunities for training in the pharmaceutical field. Our students will have a hands-on pharmaceutical manufacturing practice and will equally have an opportunity to do their clinical at Entrance University Hospital. Admission is for SSCE and WASI with passes at least grade C6 in 3 core subjects: English, Mathematics and Integrated Science, and 3 electives: Biology, Chemistry and either Physics or Elective Maths, and a pass in Social Studies. Other qualifications include International Baccalaureate, IGCSE, GCE or Advanced Level, GCE A-Level. Foreign applicants must submit copies of all results and must have a science background. Location is number 16 Okwegono off the Spintex Road. Telephone is 050 908 6631 or 050 908 6651 or 026 870 2763. Website is euchs.edu.gh. That's euchs.edu.gh. Let me go straight to the phone lines now and speak with the former area manager of Capital Bank. We want to find out how all that we have been discussing since last week has affected the average person who was working there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Great. So, Adam, first of all, tell us, we know you are an area manager, but for those who may not be so familiar with the corporate structure of Capital Bank, where does that place you in the hierarchy of the bank?
All right. So, the role of zonal or area manager places you as a senior manager within the bank.
So if you're a senior manager, if I'm counting the number of people from the top, where does that place you numerically?
There was quite a few tiers above. So we had the CEO, the CFO, we had the executive management, which was made up of mostly the general managers and the chief managers. So we had the chief managers and we had the general managers. So from the general managers, then we had heads of departments, and from the heads of departments, then we have the area managers. So basically something like that.
Okay, so I counted CEOs, I counted chief managers and general managers. Yes. And then I counted the heads of departments, and then area managers. So you were number 5 when it comes to hierarchy.
Yeah.
So basically there are 3 people between you and the CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for helping us understand that.
Sure.
How, when you hear some of the things that went on in the bank that you worked at, did it reflect the goings on in the bank as you were going to work every day and you were transacting your business?
Well, I would say this. We are all aware that the banking industry is fraught with a lot of difficulties. And, for example, if a bank has to graduate from being a savings and loans to become a bank, there are certain things that have to be done. And we were aware of some of the attempts or the moves that were being made to ensure that the bank is able to, or we're able to transition from being savings and loans to a bank. So we're aware of some of the efforts to raise capital, to do all those various things to become a bank. So with regards to the happenings in the industry, it's not something that we expected, because we were made aware that efforts were being made to ensure that we got what was required to place us where we were supposed to be. So when it happened last year, it came as a shock. It wasn't like we were all expecting it to happen. Regardless of all the difficulties, we knew that we were going to definitely pull through.
So the answer to the question then will be no. When you were going to work, nothing there looked like maybe this was a bank that was having capital adequacy issues. That seemed that it did not have enough money to run.
No, you see, for the staff, we all have our roles. For example, for the area manager or the zonal manager, the main task has to do with trying to mobilize deposits to ensure that we're able to put the deposits to good use for the bank. With regards to raising shareholder capital and all those other things, there are those who are responsible for that. So with regards to liquidity issues, there wasn't much of a problem with regards to us and our efforts to raise deposits from customers. So there was not that indication that we were in dire straits. So when it came to raising funds, we were made aware that we had people who were on the ball and trying to get those things done.
Right. But when it comes to liquidity issues, did it ever come to a point that maybe as area manager, you notice that some customers want to withdraw money and they find it difficult, or there are some monies that you need from your reserves and you find it difficult to access?
You see, that is something that, in normal banking practice happens from time to time. Because it could happen that, okay, so you've taken up the monies have been placed elsewhere. So if you want to get the monies from where it had been placed, assuming, let's say, somebody wants to call on their funds before maturity, okay, and these funds have been placed elsewhere, definitely you have to go through a process. So it's not like somebody comes to the bank and then they want to call on their funds and there's no possibility of them getting their funds. And that wasn't the case.
So considering the fact that there was nothing out of the ordinary happening, it must have come to you as a shock when you heard the announcements by the Bank of Ghana last year.
Well, definitely. I recall that day very vividly. I dressed up, went to work, and then saw that we had police presence and a few other people. Then we were not allowed to enter the premises. And eventually, when we were able to enter, we found out that this was the situation. So it was a total shock. And the fact is, the truth of the matter is, we knew that the efforts were being made to ensure that we raise the capital required, because it's necessary to have the required capital to be able to operate effectively as a bank, But we knew that plans were in the pipeline, things were in the pipeline. So for it to just happen suddenly was quite a shock.
And just to be clear, you're talking about raising capital. The impression was the increase in minimum capital requirements by the Bank of Ghana, not necessarily the original capital that was used to set up the bank.
So what we knew, was that, we transitioned from a savings and loans to a full bank. And at the time, there was a capital requirement, which was 120 million, which we were supposed to meet. So we knew that we were in the process of raising and meeting that full capital, because when you are given the license, you are given some time to be able to meet everything up and then proceed with that. So we were in the process of it, and then those who were responsible for that were handling that as far as we were aware of.
Okay. So how have things been like that? How have things been like for you since that time last year when that announcement was made by the governor of the bank?
So if maybe I should give you a chronology of how things went.
Okay.
When the issue happened, we were made aware that GCB had come on board and was going to take up all the stuff. So I remember we had a Berber camp where we were told by GCB that we were going to be taken, so no staff will have a problem. So we were all excited. So from the period of August all through to December, we were working. GCB was taking care of us. We were fine. Only to be told that, there was going to be some rationalization and some skill assessment was going to be done. And we didn't know the basis for the skill assessment or what happened, but in February, some of us were asked to leave. And that's what happened. So when we came home, the idea was, okay, then given the fact that we have a certain skill set, we can probably get back into the industry and maybe get something going. that hasn't happened, because now what I realize is you want to get a job, and unfortunately, because you are coming from a bank that has collapsed, it becomes like a tag. I can tell you for a fact that I've been to some interviews where people ask you why the bank failed. Why didn't you do anything to prevent the failure of the bank? And it becomes sort of a slur on you. So it's been very difficult. And up to now, since February when we were asked to leave, I haven't gotten anything to do yet. I'm still praying and hoping, though.
About how many of you were asked to leave the bank?
If my memory serves me right, I think it should be about close to 500. If it's 400 or 500 were asked to go.
Between 4 and 500. And this was done after a skills assessment. Explain again how you were let go based on the skills that you had.
Okay, so there was supposed to be an assessment conducted by an independent assessor. Truthfully, as to how that was done, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know how that was done, because nobody came to me to ask me about my skills and what I can do, or even give me maybe any form of assessment. Nothing of that was done. There were a few conversations that were had, but in terms of assessing the skill set itself, I don't really know how that was done.
Okay.
What I realized is that we were, because for example, I was even on a project with GCB at the time where we were vetting the accounts from both UT and Capital Bank. So as far as we were concerned, we knew that, okay, we were working. Then we were told that, okay, some people will be let go and others will be maintained. And even the criteria for that, nobody knew. Only for us to show up at work one day, and we were asked to go to HR to pick up a letter. So for some of them, they pick up the letter and they say they've been giving a 6-month contract. For others, they are told, thank you, but your services are no longer required. And so it was that much of a bombshell.
Wow. So if I may ask, Adam, how are things for you now?
Truth be told, it's not been easy at all. I say I've been surviving by grace and living on the proverbial magic of the Ghanaian, where we wake up in the morning and pray that we're able to pull through for the rest of the day. Currently, I try to make ends meet by driving around as an Uber driver, because the thing is, you cannot sit home and expect manna to fall from heaven, because you try to find a job, nothing is coming, but you need to take care of a family. And you cannot get up and tell your family that, I'm sorry, I don't have a job. So because of that, I can't give anything. You have to go out and struggle. So for now, it's been very tough. I mean, imagine having to pay rent, hospital bills, school fees. Trust me, it is not anything I want to wish on anybody right now.
Tell us about your family. How many kids do you have?
Well, I have 2 kids.
And you still have to bear the full responsibility of, taking care of them?
Well, yes. I mean, I can tell you this. I have to pay my rent. It's actually due. And I also have to prepare school fees for my daughter, and I have to pay school fees for my son. And they're on vacation now, so let's say I have a little bit of respite. But when they are going to reopen, the question is, where am I going to get the money from? But they have to go to school. So what do I do? And here's a situation where you go out to look for a job, and it's either you are told that, well, you are coming from UT or Capital. I mean, in fact, I remember I was actually told in confidence by somebody within the industry that the fact that you are coming from UT or Capital may be a bit of a challenge. You see, and it really depressed me. But the thing is, what can I do? You see, so I just have to try and push and push.
And how old are the kids?
My daughter is 7 and my son is 2.
Well, Adam, it must be having to move from an area manager of a bank to an Uber driver must be a huge leap. And
I tell you, I don't even know how to describe it. It's very depressing, especially for somebody. I mean, I have a master's degree. I have other skills that I can easily, put to the best use. But now it's like, because I'm coming from an institution that has collapsed, it's as if, those skills mean nothing. just because of this situation. Those skills mean nothing, and that's how sad it is. And I can tell you this: my situation may even be better. There are people who have, there are people who are worse off.
Really?
And
Really?
It's terrible. I'm sure you. I mean, to the extent where people can't even pay for hospital bills. Okay, some of the stuff. I mean, if you have to give you a full story of all the things people are going through, I mean, it will call for tears.
What are some of these? Well, of course. What are some of these stories that you are hearing? How are some of your friends also coping?
A lot of them are really suffering. I mean, a couple of weeks back, I think one of them, even passed away because he was sick and didn't have money to take care of himself. You know, and he passed away. We've had people who literally do not know how to survive, except maybe a handout is given to them. Because now you go and look out for a job, and now with the issues going on in the banking industry, I'm sure most banks will be careful to recruit because they would want to make sure that they know where they stand before they proceed with adding on to their expenses. So it's not been easy at all.
Well, Adam, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We had
but there's one thing, if you just indulge me, there's one thing that I would just want to mention. Before we were let go, some arrangements were made with regards to giving us some exit pay. The discussions were concluded. There were some few things that needed to be done, but up to now, none of that has been given to any of the staff. I'm sure even if that exit pay had been given to us, it would have afforded some people to even get into some business or some way to take care of themselves or support themselves for the time being. But till now, nothing has been done. So I just want to plead with the receiver, PwC, and also plead with the Bank of Ghana and Ministry of Finance, and even all the way to the President. If you can just look down to the concerns of the staff of X Capital and X UT, I really think that even if this exit pay, severance pay can be given to us, I think that it can ease a lot of the stress that we are going through. Because the fact of the matter is, before this happened, we were all taxpayers. We paid our tax diligently. We made sure that we were law-abiding citizens. It's not because of this that I should see myself as a second-class citizen. Because once I get a source of income, I would definitely deliver on my obligations as a citizen of this country. So I would really plead with them to look at our course and try and deliver to us what is due us, because we are not less than anybody else.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you so much.